Here in Tel Aviv, we do the native development for Yahoo. We work on a project called Gemini, which was launched about 2 years ago. And the project basically brought native advertising to Yahoo. We didn't have it before. And the project came to unify two marketplaces, the search advertisement marketplace and the newly created native marketplace in Yahoo under one roof, one UI, one infrastructure. So when an advertiser comes to advertise at Yahoo with one button push, he can basically advertise on both search and natives across all screens, all devices, and at least in native in all properties. Here in Tel Aviv R&D Center, my team is leading the charter, at least 3 charters. So we're in charge of ad selection altogether. We're doing all the back-end work, machine learning, algorithmic stuff, to do ad selection and ad ranking. So at runtime, we get a lot of calls from all Yahoo properties. Yahoo is constantly in the first 2 positions of the most viewed properties in the US and one of the leading in the world. So we're getting a lot of calls from every Yahoo property, and some properties external to Yahoo, it's indication. And for all these requests, on runtime, we have to calculate the ranking and select which ads to be shown based on personalization, targeting, all the usual stuff for ads, and some special spices as well. We're also in charge of pricing, so not only ad selection, but also deciding how much the advertiser will pay per interaction. We support a few models like CPC, obviously, CPM, CPI, even optimized for conversions. We do all that, and the last part of our process is to actually decide the pricing for each interaction. And the last part is ad quality. We have an ad quality team here in Tel Aviv, which is in charge on the quality of the ads. Obviously, I'll show some examples later on, but obviously, some advertisers are not of good quality as others, and it's very important for us to keep the experience of our users good and not to pollute our streams and our properties with bad ads. And the charter here is to automatically identify bad ads and remove them or rank them lower in the stream. Actually, I want to show you this graph here. This is a presentation of the last 300 days of Gemini. Obviously, I removed the numbers, but we have 2 metrics here, which are spend and CDR, and you can actually see the growth of the product. The product is growing very, very quickly. The interesting part is that we're growing both in spend. Obviously, we're getting bigger and bigger, a bigger marketplace, but also in CDR, and that's pretty amazing. I mean, we keep improving our algorithmics, we keep improving our machine learning pipelines, and the result is better performing ads. And the native ads, as you probably know, are performing much, much better than the non-native ads in comparable properties. So that's pretty amazing. One of the features in Gemini is that we run on every screen, right? Native advertising can run on both mobile apps, and it can run on browsers, and there is no reason why not to do that. So you can see that right now in all Yahoo apps, we can see native advertising, we can see it in the stream of Yahoo, we can see it here. There's no one ad type, right? The ad type varies based on the property, and we're not doing anything for rendering or for visual representation. That's all being done by the property. All we care about is returning the ads with the right assets for the property to be able to render it in a native fashion. So that's what we can see here. All right, I'm going to talk about 3 insights. My presentation is not very long. We have about 15 minutes, so I'm going to talk about 3 insights that I thought that are interesting for this purpose. And the first one, does position matters? So when Marissa Mayer entered the job as the CEO of Yahoo, she made a big change, and I was in the company when it happened. And the biggest change she made, at least at the beginning, was the transition from the old Yahoo layout to the new Yahoo layout. As you can see, the old Yahoo layout was relatively static. It was basically editors who manually packed news articles that would look like this small thing here. And when someone wanted to see more news, he needed to click show more news, and it loaded a bunch of more news. When Marissa entered the position, she changed it to an endless stream layout, which is similar to what Facebook does. So first of all, a machine automatically picks the stories for you, and then you can scroll and scroll and scroll, and you keep getting more and more personalized stories for you. And that layout was changed across Yahoo. Not only in Yahoo News or Yahoo Finance, but also in Yahoo Sports, in Yahoo Movies. Everywhere at Yahoo that you go today, you get a stream. And this opened a big opportunity for us, because if you have a stream, you can show ads in the stream without cannibalizing the existing display slots. So that's basically a big opportunity. And that's where we came in, the Tel Aviv team, and that's where we developed the native advertising. Now, obviously, the display ad that we used to show, the 300 by 250, was one slot. But with stream, you have multiple slots and multiple opportunities to display within the stream. And that introduced the dilemma, how to rank the ads and how important is the ranking. So one of the things that I want to show you is how important is the ranking. So obviously, you can see here by the stream here, that's an ad. That's how our ads look on this property. It's above the fold. When someone enters the site, he immediately saw the ad. He doesn't need to scroll to see the first ad. Once he starts interacting with the stream, he needs to scroll down and see more and more ads. And the interesting part is that this ad does not perform as well as the other ads. If you can see here in this graph, then you can see a CTR by position, and you can see impression by position. Obviously, the impression by position makes a lot of sense, right? As you go down the positions, you get less and less impressions because the user has to manually interact with the stream. And as you go to the CTR by position, you can see this weird mountain-like shape here, which basically means that the first position performs more poorly than the second position, for example. So this was a little intuitive for us at the beginning, but when you really think about it, it makes sense. Because of the way the stream is built, the first position is always above the fold. When someone goes into Yahoo like this, a lot of people immediately go to Yahoo Mail, or immediately go to one of the Yahoo links at the side, or maybe it's their home screen and they navigate it away. But that still counts as impression. So we count it as an impression, but there is usually no click accompanied. And that's why the graph looks a little weird. Another interesting thing that you can see in this graph is as you go down the position, let's say from position 8 and above, these are like the heavy interactive users, and these tend to click more than the average user. And if you reach position 8, then you're highly engaged with the stream, and you're more likely to click on the other positions. And by the way, one of the side projects that we're doing here is to identify these users, to identify the user click propensity, and basically serve them different ads or serve them different blend of ads because we identify the highly engaged users. Second insight is that native is not just an ad format. You know, some advertisers, and we see it, they don't understand what native is. They think that native is all about the representation. And they're half right, but also half wrong. The representation is part of the game, obviously, right? This ad seems like part of the stream. However, it's a classic display ad. By the way, all screenshots in my presentation are taken from the last 24 hours. These are real ads serving right now. If you go to yahoo.com, you might encounter them. So this ad is clearly a display ad in the disguise of a native ad. It's not native in my mind. It looks native, but it doesn't feel native. It doesn't content light. It doesn't blend well within the content stories in the stream. It stands out. It stands out because it basically pushes a product. And when you read a stream of content, when you have someone pushing you a product like this, even though it looks the same, it doesn't feel the same. And that's why it stands out. And part of the work, and we're here for 2 years, right? The product is here for 2 years, and we feel advertisers getting more and more accustomed to what native is. And part of the improvement of the CDRs is also advertisers learn and improve their creatives and improve their ads and make them more native-like, and they enjoy the better CDRs. Another thing that is bad for nativeness is the bad quality ads. So you look at the stream, you immediately can spot the ads, immediately, right? You see the image is disgusting, it doesn't blend well within the stream, and it also spoils the nativeness. It also creates a little bit of ad blindness, you can say, because you repeat this time and time and time again, the engagement of the users becomes less and less good, and they will not come back eventually. So as I said at the beginning, that's part of the work that we're doing here, identify these ads and block them from showing, or at least reduce their appearance. So these are the bad ads. look at this ad, for example. These are good examples, okay? First position here is an ad. This is not an ad, by the way. So you can see how it blends in natively. And this ad, in comparison to the hammock ad in the first slide, shows 288% improvement of CDR. Okay, that's amazing. And I put a screenshot of the landing page, so you can see that when someone clicks on it, he actually gets a good experience. He gets exactly what he asked for. He gets, you know, it's not a fraud. It's not an ad that leads you to some product page. It's actually a content that seems organic, and if we remove the sponsor from there, people can actually accept it as an organic content within the stream. So you can say, yeah, right, there is a photo here of paradise, but what if there is another photo? So that's another ad from lower in the same stream, and you can see, again, this is not as tempting, but again, 217%. Why? Because it looks native. Because it doesn't only look native, it also feels native. It feels like a content. And when you go to the actual story, then again, you get what you ask for. That's good ad quality. Okay? So advertisers that actually understand what native is, that it's not only display format, actually gain much better value and better results from the product. Last insight is the importance of contextual relevancy. So again, let's say that the ads look native and the ads feel native. But let's say that we have a stream of cars. Okay, we're in Yahoo Mobility or Yahoo Cars, and let's say that in the middle of this stream of car stories, we put a story about circus. It doesn't blend in, right? It looks right. It's 13 most bizarre circus tricks you ever seen. It feels right, but it doesn't quite feel right. It doesn't feel right as part of the stream. And the contextual importance has double meaning in terms of importance. One thing is that when you take contextual signals into account, you get another inferred user signal. The user did not tell you, I'm interested in sport explicitly. However, he visited a sport site that shows sports stories. So you can infer that the user is probably a little bit into sport, right? Otherwise, what is he doing there? So that gives you a signal on the user. Even if you don't know anything else about the user, at least you know that he's visiting a sports site. That's a good start. The second thing, like I said, is the nativeness of the ad. If the ad blends natively in the stream, again, people do not develop the blindness for it. They don't spot it out, and the user experience is better. And I have a few examples here to finish with. So you can see this is Yahoo Finance, for example, from yesterday. That's stories from yesterday. And you can see here that there is a story about gold and how gold will not save the economy and whatever. Again, blends perfectly. Here's another ad format altogether. Yahoo has this stream of tiles kind of layout. And this is actually Yahoo Autos. And I don't know if everybody can spot the ads in a first glance, but Yahoo, by the way, is a big company. It can't disguise the ads and do this fishy stuff. So it always marks the ad with a clear sponsored signal. And this is an ad, and this is an ad. Okay, these are two ads. It says sponsored here. There's a $sign, and these actually, you can agree with me, they blend perfectly within the autos. And if you're interested in autos, the chances for you to click on these ads or to interact with these ads or to even convert on these ads is high. You don't need, it's not rocket science. It just looks native, right? That's what native is about. Another example is from Yahoo Movies, again, from yesterday. And you can see here all the tiles for movies. And again, there's two ads here in the stream. One is this, 11 famous people who quit Hollywood, and that's another one about co-stars don't want to work together. Again, look native, feel native, and blend native. And that's why they perform so well. That's why our Gemini is performing so well. And the user experience is being kept, pretty decent, I think. So that's the presentation. And if you have any questions, I can answer. Yeah. It varies. It can be very high. We've seen click-through rates of 5-6% on native ads. That's pretty good. But I would say that you can get average click-through rates of, a little bit below 2%. Yes, good question. So we entered the video market. Yes, he asked if we do anything with video. So we entered the video market last quarter. Yahoo made two big acquisitions, one of a company called Flurry and one of a company called Brightroll. They're both have big marketplace for video advertising. And last quarter, the team here in Tel Aviv spent a significant amount of time of integrating the entire Flurry infrastructure and demand into native. So basically from our system right now, we do both CPV, cost per view for video, and CPCV, cost per complete view for video. And we do it, Flurry is syndicated, it's basically an SDK. So through Flurry, we do a lot of serving in SDK, I think more than 5,000 apps through Flurry. And that's video. Other question? All right, thank you.